Hey guys, what is up? What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Trying to stay consistent, but hope you guys are doing well, staying safe, and today I just wanted to talk to you guys about fear. You see, another one of those car chronicles on my way to work, but fear is a spirit, okay? Now, I'm a believer in Christ, and I am a very spiritual person, and there are some things that have happened in my life where, you hear things, you see things, you read things, but to experience it yourself is another dimension where, you feel and you see the presence of God manifesting in different ways, or you see the presence of the enemy trying to manifest against you, and you have the ability by God's grace to pray on it. So if you're not about, believing or have any negative thoughts, then this video ain't for you. But fear will cripple us in life. It's a crippling characteristic, because why do we fear? Why do human beings fear? We fear for a bunch of reasons, right? There's fear of failure. There's fear of rejection. There's fear that you're not worthy or good enough to accomplish something or to obtain or attain something. There's fear of people, like what would people's reactions be, or how would they react towards me if I took the step to move forward. And I have dealt with that in my life on so many occasions, in general. I told you guys a little bit about my story. I left my home, my parents' home, my mom's home at the age of 16. When I was leaving, that fear crept up on me, because it was like, okay, like, where are you leaving to? I only had my boyfriend to rely on, my husband at the time, and nobody else. My older cousin did at one point take me in and offered for me to stay, but I felt like, like I wasn't moving, like I'm just stagnant. I need to do something with my life. I can't just be sitting in the living room watching reruns of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and think that that's okay. And then, he was pursuing the love of his life at the time, and so now they got to go to work, and a whole 17-year-old at the time, I think, when I moved in with my cousin, or 18, for a short stint, like maybe 3 months, and then I moved out on my own. But fear was what crept up on me. Now, there were a couple occasions where loved ones that you would not expect to put you down told me that I will not amount to anything, and that I was joking around, I did not have a future, that I wouldn't be anything. So all these words that and see, that's the thing, I believe in words. I believe that words are power and their spirit. Even the Bible says it, that the power of life and death lies in your tongue. And your tongue, whatever you utter with your tongue, or you allow others to utter upon your life, will affect you positively or negatively. I see things of the law of attraction, and I laugh and I say, well, good for those that follow it. But the law of attraction existed. It's been existing in the Bible, and it's just that someone took the concept and, turned it around to take away the religious aspect of things, in which it still works. To be honest, the only, as believers in general, the only thing that we have attached that we know for sure is our salvation. After salvation comes other things, wisdom and other things that will help you live life. But after that, everything else is game, really. But anyways, let's step aside from that realm. But I, imbibed these things, and I was sort of buying into what, these family members that you wouldn't expect to tell you things like that were telling me, all because, I did not have the best of SATs or ACTs. I wasn't the worst student, but I would say, like, I was a B average student for the most part, from 10th grade and beyond, and from, of course, kindergarten to about maybe 6th grade. But between middle school and ninth grade, that's when I had a lot of crisis happen. My parents divorced. I was going through a lot. And that really, challenged me quite a bit. Physically, emotionally, everything. And so, I would listen to things. I would watch things. My husband, although we were dating at the time, was so inspiring. He always used to be like, just snap out of it, get up, move, don't sit, like, no matter what, if you feel rejected or are rejected, like, work for yourself, not for anybody. You're proving to yourself that you could do it, and in proving to yourself, the others will see that, oh my gosh, I really messed up. I shouldn't have, said something as terrible to this person. I watched Michelle Obama's Becoming documentary, and it was very powerful, because I remember the story that she mentioned about when her guidance counselor pretty much shut her potential dreams to go to Princeton, and told her pretty much she wouldn't be able to get in. She wouldn't even make it. But look at her now. Who knew that little black girl that walked into that guidance counselor's office was gonna be the first lady of the United States of America. And let's not forget, she was actually President Obama's mentor before, he took off and moved forward. But again, I go off on another tangent. But I was so afraid of and fearful of the future that I was like, you know what? I'm just going to get a little retail job. I'm just going to continue with school and see where it takes me. I had gotten rejected from nursing school. I've gotten rejected from a bunch of different things that I wanted to do. And I was just like, gosh, nothing is working in my favor. Like, God, like, what is going on? And my husband and I've always been adventurous, and I thank God for that. But I'm as I get older, I'm more like, I think more about things, but I still am quite adventurous. So I was kind of tired of the status quo, and I was online. I was at home that day. I wasn't working. I was like Googling. It was right when I moved out of my mom's house and everything was going on, and I really wasn't, feeling it. So I was like, I just want to get away. Let me see what it is like to live somewhere else. So I found a school in South Carolina, Greenville, South Carolina, and I saw that they had open enrollment. Now, I didn't even know what the heck open enrollment was. Of course, I knew what open enrollment was. Rolling admissions. I didn't know what rolling admissions was. But I was like, all right, let's check it out. We got 6 weeks for school to start. I'm gonna put in the application and see what happens. So I called my husband then, and I was like, hey, I found this school in South Carolina so randomly. Like, we never talked about this before. I think we should go. What do you think? He's like, so when does school start? I'm like, in the fall, in 6 weeks. He's like, what? He's like, are you crazy? Like, you're just gonna, we don't have no logistical planning. We're just gonna get up and go. And so we got up, and he's like, all right. So he gave me his information, Social Security and all. I know, right? All the trust back then. I could have been a crazy woman that would sell his Social Security to one of them scammers or something. But anyways, he gave me his information. I put it in. I put mine in, and I applied to the school. And honestly, to be honest, I did not think that we would get in. Again, I was at a community college for the first about a couple years before, like 3 years at the time. I think, 3 years at the time before we set off to this to the school. So I put it in, and about 2.5 weeks later, I get a response, and pretty much we were admitted into the nursing program. But the way it works is you're admitted, and then you have to take an entrance examination, which will determine whether you take a fast track pathway or you take the traditional, which is 5 years pathway. So I was excited because nursing was what I wanted to do initially. And I was like, finally, after rejections, I finally got something. Like, this is amazing. This is great. So my husband was like, all right, I'm going to play along with this crazy woman, but we'll see how it goes. So we tell his mom, and, she was very supportive. And at the time, I was actually living with him and his mom and his aunt, who was living there as well. And so we tell her, she's like, are you guys sure? She was like, all right, but I'll support you. She's such a supportive person. Love her. But anyways, didn't tell my parents because, the terms in which, the reason I left was because obviously we weren't on good terms. And so I was just like, whatever. So I then contacted my mom and I told her, hey, I got into the school. I'm going away, blah, blah, blah. So she didn't believe me at first and was just kind of cold and, but I was like, whatever, I'm going to do me. So anyways, I move on. I go on to get ourselves ready. So I'm packing everything. We start getting a list of things that we need. Now, mind you, I'm not even working significantly because I had just finished Montgomery. I wasn't finished with Montgomery College, but school was out and I was just kind of like getting the summer vibes and whatnot. So about 2.5 weeks later, we were all packed, ready to go. Literally, my stuff were in a trash bag, guys, like one of those dark, heavy-duty trash bags. And I didn't even have enough stuff. So my mother-in-law, because when I left my mom's house, I just took whatever I could take. I just left. So anyways, my mother-in-law was like, oh no, you guys need uniforms. So we're going to stop by by Walmart. So she shopped for my husband and I. She bought us like toiletries. She bought clothes. She bought lotions, everything that I needed as a woman, pads, just everything essential, like all my uniforms, everything, lotions and everything came from my mother-in-law. And mind you, this woman she's not loaded. She's a single mother all by herself, and she was just so supportive. So she, we get these things and she drops us off and then she goes back home and everything is good. So through the whole thing, we were like, oh, the South is really nice. But, of course, we really didn't know much about it because that school, that's another story. That's another story time. That school was very, 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 very white. And no offense. I'm not all about an HBCU or all about an all-white institution. I like to have a mix because it's a beautiful thing to see people of different, colors and stuff come together. And nothing against any one of them, but I just like, that's my preference, right? And so I was just like, gosh, like it was only literally like 11 black folks, and we all knew each other, and we all tried to get together, and we all hung out together, and it was just something else. But anyways, long story short, I got saved in that school, and I remember there was an evangelist that was coming by for chapel that day, and I was kind of like, oh, whatever. So he did the altar call, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna go up there. I've already accepted. I know Jesus because we went to church, honey. But I don't know. I'll just do this again and accept him again. And my husband, women and guys did not really sit together. It was very weird. In the 21st century, something like that was very interesting. But men and guys could not sit together. And so anyways, that happened. And my salvation experience, which is another story, I'll talk about it, was very, very interesting. So I get saved, and after that, I realized that my purpose for going there was for that, to get saved, not to go and complete my nursing degree that I've been wanting to forever, but just to get saved. So we could, the next, like a few months later, we did just a semester, and we left the school and came back home. So as we got back home again, fear crept in. The thing and misconception about believing is that once you are saved, everything is all good. No, that's when the battle just begins. So you start battling and praying and fighting and having all kinds of spiritual encounters because the devil once had you, and now you have pretty much escaped from the snare of the fowler. And now he's upset that you have freedom. So anyways, I go through trials and tribulations, and fear paralyzed me. Fear to the point that I was just going to settle for like anything just because I was fearful and I didn't believe in myself or believe that I could ever attain where I am today or where I'm potentially going. And my husband was always encouraging me. He's like, you can't let fear cripple you. You can't let the words of people and what they have, divinely or what they think you are because of whatever. Like, you have to move beyond that and keep on pressing. And, you know, all of us need that one person in our life, or multiple people, who are our constant reminders that we're not where we need to be. We need to push beyond. Who will always encourage us in the midst of like toughest times, that anything is possible if we believe. And my husband pushed me through and through. He didn't have me settle for anything. I mean, even as a physical therapist assistant, he was like, when I wanted to get into PT school, that's another story time, but I was fearful. He's like, go for it. Like, just go for it. Stop being fearful. You know, it's not scary. You're going to be okay. The prerequisites, you'll take it. You'll do really well. Just go. But I just want to end and say that, guys, continue to push forth no matter what. Do not let fear cripple you. Fear, the reason we fear is because we don't know, right? We don't know what it will be like. But either way, the reason we hope is we know we want something to be great. We want something to happen for us. We're hopeful that it will happen, but we really don't know that when we get there, it will happen, right? And so, but fear is the opposite of that, which is more, we don't even want to explore or give it a chance because we just automatically think that something bad is going to happen. But I urge you to challenge yourself. Whatever plans that you have for yourself, whatever, you know, goals you have set for yourself, don't be fearful. Take it one step at a time. Pray about it, meditate about it, speak it into existence, get pen and paper, put it on, have an accountability partner that's reliable, surround yourself with positive people, and I'm telling you guys, you will get where you need to get. Anyways, just wanted to give that little much encouragement. I am just on my way to work, so I will holler at y'all later. All right, guys, bye.